Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning. Well, we have a lot of news in here, and there's a lot of small stories, but then we have two big stories. If you can believe this, the tea throwing incident in Australia is coming back to rear its ugly head, and we're looking at Harry and Meghan's Netflix contract. It's been a while also since I've shown you guys some of Meghan's controlling behavior, so I put together a compilation for you at the end just for the heck of it. But let's jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're starting off this morning with Beckham and his wife Nicola. Remember, they were just married in 2022. They decided to do a vow renewal in Europe. Her father officiated. David and Victoria Beckham were not there. Now, I don't know if they weren't there because they weren't invited. I don't know why they weren't there, but whatever. Now, she's wearing her mother's wedding dress, Nicola is. If she thought it was so important to do that, why didn't she wear her mother's wedding dress the first time around? Get what I'm saying? Now, we also know that at the first wedding, supposedly, allegedly, Nicola was heartbroken and ran from the room crying because Victoria Beckham went up to her son and had a mother-son dance after the newlyweds danced, but apparently there was supposed to be a second or a third newlywed dance that didn't happen because Victoria dared to dance with her son. I gotta be honest, when I look at these pictures, I see a bunch of very wealthy people who have nothing on their hands but time and don't know what to do with themselves, so they just throw party after party after party. Their lives are meaningless. They're pointless. They don't actually do anything. This is just what they do. Let's have parties. Let's take pictures. Let's put them up on Instagram. I mean, seriously, people, with the amount of money this family has, they could be some real force for a change for good in the world. But yeah, instead, Nicola posed with her mother, topless, and put these pictures up. Well, that just shows you where Nicola gets her values from. I mean, oh, God. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, I found this interesting. You guys remember that UK documentary that just came out the other day, Prince Harry, My Terrible Year. I haven't been able to watch it, but apparently this woman who worked for Queen Elizabeth for 12 years talked about how warm, engaging, and kind Harry was. But at the same time, she's come out now to say, Harry, stop being the victim, start being the hero of the piece, start writing your own script. She said, I think people are getting a little bit tired of how Harry thinks the world is against him and how awful his life is. She says he's too impulsive. I hope she said all that in the actual documentary. Okay, let's move on. Stories are coming out now saying that Meghan Markle's A-list friend circle is shrinking dramatically, and that one of the people that's kind of backed up is Oprah Winfrey. She has fallen silent, even though she's the one who did that interview with Harry and Meghan. Well, maybe she's fallen silent because that interview has backlashed on her horribly. People pointed out dynamics have shifted. Tyler Perry, Serena Williams, Catherine McPhee, all these friends of hers are suddenly just not there. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, Meghan Markle posted on her Instagram page this weird picture of herself. It was like a shadow holding up a glass of wine and a statement going, "We see you, Australia, UK, Canada." The problem is her, as ever, does not offer international shipping, but so worldwide customers can't get any of her stuff. The post was supposed to be somehow for people in other countries who somehow, through whatever means, have managed to get their hands on her products. And of course, the article goes on to say that, Meghan Markle and Netflix are in their test phase to see what sells and what doesn't. And they want to see if the wine is going to be a sweet spot before they decide to build on it. Articles are coming out saying that if Meghan wants to sell to other countries, she needs to find a distributor or a supermarket that is willing to sell her wine to other territories where she has a big fan base. The problem is, I don't think she has that big of a fan base anymore. But shipping is going to be an issue because it's so expensive. There's levies and taxes, and people aren't interested in that. I don't think she's going to be able to sell in the UK, even though these articles are saying she will. The UK is not a focus for the brand as ever. Flower sprinkles are alien to UK customers. There's a huge choice of wines available in the UK. I just don't think she's going to sell well there, my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean that Meghan's not going to try to use people to push her products. She decided to send a basket of goodies over to Khloe Kardashian. The basket had 2 bottles of her As Ever Rosé, her orange blossom honey, tomato squash, and of course, flowers. Meghan took the picture and goes, hey, all my girls with a K, to get them to put it up and promote it. You should know this picture was taken at Kylie Jenner's 28th birthday party, which took place over the weekend. What that shows is 1, Meghan wasn't invited to the party. Number 2, Khloe doesn't follow Meghan's Instagram or the As Ever Instagram. So this is nothing but paid advertising. The Kardashians have said in public that they don't post products unless they're getting paid for it. And the pay is over 6 figures per post. And so since this happened on somebody's birthday, it had to have been expensive. Khloe Kardashian and of course Kim and all of these people are not the only ones she's sucking up to. She actually sent this crate full of wine to Kris Jenner, the mama Jenner. She's just not going to stop. So while Meghan Markle is sending her gifts to the Kardashians trying to gain traction, Pamela Anderson is now selling pickles with all proceeds going towards the California Wildlife Center. How wonderful is that? Pamela has teamed up with, of all people, Flamingo Estates. This is a limited edition release of pickles. It's $38 a jar for spicy floral garden fresh cucumbers. In case you guys don't remember, Flamingo Estates is where Meghan wanted to join up with them. She went out and met with them. And in the end, they decided they didn't want to team up with Meghan Markle. So then Meghan Markle took most of Flamingo Estates' ideas and launched As Ever. I'm definitely going to get some pickles. All right. This is the kind of story. This is a PR puff piece. It's being claimed that an unearthed letter showed that the Queen said it was imperative that Harry and Meghan have effective security after quitting royal duties. So this letter that nobody's ever seen has been quoted, which I find interesting. It says, quote, "You will understand well that ensuring that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex remain safe is of a paramount importance to Her Majesty and the family. Given the Duke's public profile by virtue of being born into the royal family, his military service, the Duchess's own independent profile, and the well-documented history of targeting of the Sussex family by extremists, it is imperative the family continues to be provided with effective security." Sorry, guys, I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe the Queen expected the taxpayer of the UK to continue to cover Harry and Meghan while they gallivant around the world. Sorry. Next up, I just wanted to touch on this article. Remember, Harry is now sharing his calendar to kind of de-escalate things with the royal family, the concessions. And what people are saying is, this looks like Harry is crawling back and saying, please let me in because I don't know what I'm going to do without you guys. And people are saying, listen, he should start with an apology. We don't need a sharing of dates. Agreed. Okay, definitely have to touch on this whole thing going on. I don't know if you want to call it sentibale, whatever. With the feud going on and everything being said and the Charity Commission getting involved, the fact that Meghan Markle has not shown any public words of support for Harry, they're saying is just devastating. Nothing. She has no problem showing up to Sentibale events and inserting herself anywhere she can take a picture. But as soon as there's a problem, she goes silent. I completely agree. I think it's terrible. Okay, here's one of our bigger stories for today. A lot of old stuff is coming back into the public realm. We have the lawsuit with Samantha Markle, and now the whole Australian tour tea-throwing incident is back. Remember, Harry and Meghan had just been married. They had just announced her pregnancy. They were in Australia. They were getting all this positive press coverage. However, it's being reported that the mood where they were staying was not good. They arrived with Samantha the Panther Cohen, Amy Pickerel, Heather Wong, and Marnie Gaffney. But then at her request, Jessica and Belle Moroney were flown in from Canada to provide what they called, quote, around-the-clock support. And Moroney was being dubbed as Meghan's stylist. So while Jessica was there, it was being reported that Meghan was really abrasive towards the 4 female staff members, towards the local British diplomats, and then she had an outburst and she threw a cup of tea into the air. Now, it was alleged at one point that she threw it at somebody, but apparently it went up in the air. The problem was the media coverage during the games. Meghan and Harry were obsessed with how they were being portrayed in the media, that every morning they were trolling through social media looking for comments and things that weren't very nice. And then in the morning they were surfing the internet, and then they were both bombarding their staff with demands for retribution and removal of the criticisms that they saw. It was at this time that the U.S. media started putting out these stories about Meghan's father, which was not true, that he snorted cocaine, he went to a Playboy club in Manila, that he found out that Meghan was pregnant over the radio. And even though those stories came from the U.S. press, Harry apparently blamed the U.K. media for the reports. Meghan became irate. She was blaming Jason Kanoff and his staff for not suppressing the stories like they do in Hollywood. She really thought that they could just cut any story she didn't like. And of course, her attitude influenced Harry's attitude towards the British media. I mean, it was on a plane. He said something to one of the British media people. He said, "Thank you for coming, although you weren't actually invited." And beyond the Sussex's entourage, no one was aware of what was going on, in the background. I mean, the press did attach to Meghan the fact that one of her outfits cost like £20,000. And as a sign of her intention, she also wore a Serena Williams brand jacket that right afterwards was promoted on Instagram. And that coverage made Meghan mad. And she was blaming the senior royals for not suppressing the stories. And in case you haven't figured it out, that's what she meant by they won't protect us. She wanted negative stories, anything negative about her or Harry, to be removed. And when they couldn't do that, in other words, suppressing free speech, she whined that the palace wasn't protecting her. That's what she meant. Okay, let's move on to our next story. Here we go. We have all said that Netflix was not going to renew the contract with Harry and Meghan, and that is exactly what they've done. While Harry and Meghan have said that they've extended their deal, they have not extended the deal. The contract is over. They have now been downgraded to what's called a first look deal. So basically, if they have an idea, they bring it to Netflix, and Netflix can say, yes, we like it, or no, we don't. And if they don't like it, then they can go on to another streaming service and try to sell it there, which we all know Disney won't touch them. None of the other services are going to touch them. Netflix is the only one that's going to give them a chance to do anything. There will be no money coming in from Netflix anymore unless they actually pitch an idea that Netflix likes. So with this is what they've announced. The new output will include a second season of the Duchess's With Love Meghan lifestyle show later this month. That means that towards the end of August, which is what I've been telling you guys, because the contract ends in September, they're going to release the other 8 episodes that were taped at the same time as the first episode. But I think what Netflix did was they released the first 8 to see how it would be received. Now they've gone back through the editing process, re-editing it, trying to make it more palatable, which I honestly don't see how they're going to be able to fix anything, especially when it's been announced she has people like Chrissy Teigen on, who's known to be a massive bully. I also firmly believe that the only reason that Netflix is continuing on with this is because of the As Ever brand and the fact that they were stupid enough to partner up with Meghan Markle. I think Meghan Markle didn't have the money up front, the upfront costs. So Netflix came on. They're taking a percentage of the ownership. I believe they paid the upfront costs. They put her in touch with the manufacturers because they manufacture for the other, programs like Squid Games. And that's how her stuff got off the ground. I've said it before. They can't completely get rid of her because they have a vested interest. It was also announced Are you ready? This December, join Meghan and Montecito for a magical holiday celebration with friends and family. They're going to deck the halls, create holiday feasts, craft heartfelt gifts, blah, blah, blah. Here's my thought process on this. I believe this was taped the same time as the other 16 episodes. And if they're going to have family there, that means they're going to be showing the kids. They're finally going to throw the kids in front of the camera because the kids are really the only card they have left to play. And beyond all that, could somebody explain how they're going to do a holiday family special when Meghan doesn't have contact with her family? The only family she talks to is Doria. This is supposed to be family and friends. What friends? She's dumped up all her friends, unless, of course, they're multimillionaires. So Meghan, who's never been seen in church, whose children have never been seen in church, is going to teach everybody how to do Christmas. I think she's going to kill it. I'm talking about Christmas. She's going to kill it. I believe the Christmas special is supposed to detract from Catherine's Christmas special that she does every year. I don't think that's going to work for them. Now, there's also supposedly in development a docuseries called Masaka Kids, A Rhythm Within. It's a documentary about orphan children in Uganda where the shadows of HIV/AIDS crisis linger. But here's the thing. These kids already have their own very popular YouTube channel. They're already stars in their own right, and I'm sure that this docuseries is going to go the way of the other docuseries they did, Live to Lead, where somebody else did the work and they basically slapped their name on it and it was a big fat fail. I have a feeling this one will be as well. Couple more things I want to point out here. Number one, the only people who are yelling from the rooftops about this supposed new deal are Harry and Meghan. Netflix might put out a statement when somebody contacts them, but they're not touting it like they, should be. Number two, I believe Netflix is wanting to keep a connection with Harry and Meghan so that if and when they divorce, they can have first dibs on that. Number three, I believe that Netflix is somewhat embarrassed and has some egg on their face from this deal, and they don't want to end up like Spotify, so they're trying to keep a connection. So as I was finishing up, some more information came out that I thought was important to cover. Number one, we know that yes, they now have the first look option. It's not near worth the $100 million 5-year contract that they initially had. It's being reported Netflix is covering Archwell Productions' overhead, which includes the cost for its office and its staff. And there are no plans for another documentary. All right, you guys, here we go. It's time now for the compilation at the end. I'll try to put some nice music to it. I hope you get the spirit of it. Enjoy. God. You guys know what I want. Put those comments down. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel. I've got some recipes coming up there, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.